Well, Uganda's labor force consists of 15 million individuals, with agriculture accounting for 73% of the labor force employed. That was in 2010. Now, 30 years later, that number's actually gone up. Above 95% of the 11 million people working in agriculture were in the informal sector and are still in the informal sector with the service sector. Now, 80% of the jobs are in the non-wage or informal sector jobs, mainly in low productivity, retail, trade and the likes. Now, the challenge Uganda faces is to increase the number of jobs in the more productive sectors, shifting the people out of agriculture into services and industry, while at the same time putting in place interventions that will enhance productivity in agriculture. Today, we are talking about Bukalasa Agricultural College with the Kabaramaido Technical Institute, as well as Sesse and Runtanga Institute for top quality agriculture trainings. In studios with me, I have Mr. Abasa Innocent Stephen, the principal of Sesse Farm Institute. I have Dr. Oluge Christopher, the principal of Kabaramaido Tech Institute, and Mr. Tukwasiwe William, the principal of Runtanga Institute. Now, this program is powered by the World Bank, the Ministry of Education and Sports, as well as Skilling Uganda. I'm Andrew Chamagran. Be a part of this conversation with the hashtag Skilling for Success. That is on Twitter and on Facebook and YouTube. I'll pick your feedback a little later. But just before we dive into the entire dialogue we're having with these great men from the Agricultural Technical Institutes, let's just have a clip for you just to bring sense and context to the conversation.
As part of strengthening, modernizing and upgrading agriculture skills training, the government of Uganda has, through the Uganda Skills Development Project, made deliberate effort to upgrade Bukalasa Agricultural College into a top-notch hub for superior agriculture training of international standards. Alongside Bukalasa, 3 vocational training institutions have been networked with the college to provide high-quality agricultural training in their own right.
Bukalasa is focused on agriculture, and Bukalasa has been attached to another 3 institutions. Kabaramaido Technical Institute, we have Runtanga Technical Institute, and we have Sesse Farm Technical Institute. Those 3 are also, as I could say, nearly as good as Bukalasa. So you don't have to come to Bukalasa to get what you need, because you can go to Kabaramaido. If you're at that end, you can go to Runtanga, you can go to Sesse Institute. All of them have been given the facilities to ensure that the kind of training in agriculture is the kind of training that we deserve for this country.
The government has invested in upgrading the quality of agriculture training at Kabaramaido Technical Institute, Sesse Farm Institute and Runtanga Farm Institute by purposely networking them with Bukalasa Agricultural College for mentorship purposes and to ensure they are able to provide quality, demand training in the country. Kabaramaido Technical Institute, a beneficiary of the USDP project, has been upgraded to offer a new internationally adapted certificate course in agro-processing and business management. The program was developed with the support of Dalhousie University of Canada, the twinning partner that has supported Bukalasa Agricultural College and its entire cluster to develop new curricula and upgrade its curricula. The new course, just like the ones offered by the other USDP beneficiary institutions, has been clustered into competencies for flexible entry and exit of the labor market. The academic staff from the institution have also undertaken benchmarking visits for training, exposure and better skills delivery. They visited Dalhousie University as well as India, where their skills have been further honed.
I was trained in Bukalasa, then we went for training in India. They took us for overseas training, that is in Tamil Nadu University. Yeah, that is in partnership with Dalhousie University. So the trainings, we have done so many of these trainings, majorly in processing. For me, I did the animal production, but it is an added advantage to me. It has added on my CV.
The staff from the Institute have also undergone capacity building activities that have further augmented their training capacities.
So it is because of this project that I built confidence that I can now handle much of the trainings, both inside and outside.
As far as I'm concerned, as far as my staff here are concerned, we are very grateful for what USDP has done for us through TVET.
This aside, the Ministry of Education and Sports has constructed new state-of-the-art infrastructure to support training of students in the new course. A spray press, milk processing parlor, milk processing house and a feed mill have been constructed for this purpose. These structures have been complemented through an upgraded electricity system, a new generator, underground solar water facilities and a fence for security purposes. The Institute also received a variety of ICT equipment to facilitate ICT learning.
I am extremely happy and grateful to government and all parties to this enormous investment in this place. And all this committed towards the intention to see the vocationalization and the skilling of the people in this region and in this country. For that we are extremely grateful. I happen to have worked here for a long time, not just as a leader in the political axis. I was a civil servant in the government of Uganda. At the time, this institution was in its nascent stages. So I know it from the first buildings to the new ones.
The number of students has increased suddenly because of this project here. You know, seeing is believing. When the project started with construction, nobody would believe these structures would be this as enormous as this. So that is my belief now that after some time, we shall realize several changes. The common one will benefit. And so we are asking government now to introduce more chances of non-formal courses here.
Kabaramaido does not only train students in the skills of agriculture, although agriculture is the main one in Kabaramaido. Our enrollment for agriculture is the highest. We have other disciplines as well. We have automotive mechanics. We have building and construction. We also qualify students and give them a national certificate in fashion and design. We also train students and in the national certificate in woodwork technology. We have also students doing national certificate in electrical installation and maintenance. We need to be relevant in Uganda with this big investment government has made in Kabaramaido. As many Ugandans as possible should be able to benefit.
So I want now encourage everybody that this institution is for us. We have to embark and come to this institution and build on our capacity.
Runtanga Institute is being upgraded into an institution of international quality, providing training in crop production and agribusiness. Runtanga Institute is being upgraded into an institution of international quality, providing training in crop production and agribusiness. The institute is located in Rutoma Parish, Ranyamahambe Sub-County, Mbara District. When one enters the institute, it's difficult to miss the wide array of healthy-looking plants that cover the institute's pathways and yards. Spinach and cabbage yards, high-yielding banana gardens, a piggery unit, a fish farm are some of the features that accentuate the beauty of this agriculture institute. Besides the magnificent structures, including a state-of-the-art ICT library, training labs, and renovated administrative units and classrooms provided by the Ministry of Education and Sports through USDP.
If you can see these big buildings you have around Runtanga, they were brought by USDP. For example, we have our library there. It is a storage building which were provided by USDP. Then renovation of agricultural lab, you have seen what is inside. They have just brought tractor equipments. They are very many.
As you are aware that this institution has several courses in agriculture. We have both animal-related courses and crop-related courses. But this lab is specifically for animal courses, and we train our students on animal practicals like treating of animals, and these bones you're seeing here. It is all about anatomy of animals. They are studying about it. They are looking about the internal organs of the animal and most of the other parts of it. So we have other issues like we test for some diseases which affects the cattle.
By the time we came here, our laboratory was not fully stocked. Now, so far, the time we have spent here, we have got an improved laboratory where we can do our practicals.
Runtanga Farm Institute was established in 1994 as a farm school offering Uganda junior technical certificates in tropical agriculture, building and concrete practices, tailoring and garment cutting. The institute grew, and eventually in 2012 it began to offer a national certificate in agriculture. In 2014, the institute further developed into a vocational training institute offering a national certificate in agriculture, a diploma in crop production and management, as well as diploma in animal production and management.
We have certificate students and diploma students. So certificate students do general agriculture, both crop and animal. So when you go to diploma level, we have different courses where you have animal health and production and crop production. So those are two courses so far we are offering.
The institute has been upgraded to provide world-class training in agriculture, specifically crop production and agribusiness, with a special niche in horticulture. To support this new direction, the institute has benefited from a new lab that has been enhanced to provide world-class training. The institute's instructors have also retooled through various in-country trainings, offshore trainings and benchmarking visits abroad. To enhance learning and ICT development at the institute, a library and ICT complex, complete with a generator, external works have been constructed. This has boosted access to information and research and enhanced the ICT culture at the institution. Runtanga Farm Institute is gradually becoming a stop center for innovative agriculture knowledge, skills and research.
Ever since USDP started supporting us, enrollment is increasing year by year. Not like previous years when we used to have 300 students, 400, but this time we are in 1,000 students. And we hope by next year, 2023, we shall receive more than 1,500 students.
It intends to continue to produce agro-social entrepreneurs that are technically skilled and knowledgeable in applied agriculture and respond to the current and future needs. The partnership model that it has adopted has strengthened its workings with agricultural industry partners. It has partnered with the Directorate of Industrial Training, Bukalasa Agricultural College, and institutes in Israel in the past. It implements a learn-as-you-earn model through which students and the college produce and share products from the learning processes at a rate of 60 to 40% between the institute and the students respectively. With all these developments, the future is bright for this growing institute. Sesse Institute, a highly multicultural institution that draws enrollment from various parts of the country as well as neighboring countries of Rwanda and Kenya. The 34-year-old institution sits on Bukalasa Island, one of the 84 islands on Lake Victoria. It is a 30-minute drive from Bokakata across the waters of Bugoma landing site. Through the USDP, Sesse Institute is offering 3 internationally adapted courses, a diploma in animal production and agribusiness, a certificate in feed production and feed mill management, and a short course in dairy production. Through the USDP project, government has further actualized the provision of these skills through the construction of 4 important facilities at the Institute: a milk processing house, a zero grazing unit, a milking parlor, and a spray race at the Institute. These aside, 6 instructors from the Institute have trained at Dalhousie on various aspects of setting up and managing centers of excellence. They've also attended exposure visits to the Dalhousie headquarters, Canada. They also participated in benchmarking visits to India. Just like its other counterparts, Sesse Institute also received ICT equipment to facilitate and promote ICT learning. The 3 institutions have admitted and trained their first cohort of students who have already acquired skills in the new courses and gone out to utilize their new skills to improve their lives and the economy at large.
I'm glad for this program. What TVET has done in our school, they have sponsored us with all this project that is taking place right now. Before TVET has put this thing into place, this place used not to be the way we have it now.
If we don't teach young children, it was a quote, if we don't teach young children agriculture, we will have a future generation which will be importing food. And that's one reason as why I had to try my level best at least to make sure that I'm not among that generation that will be there to import food, but rather I should be exporting it.
Interested Ugandans should continue to enroll and gain skills that can enable them to work anywhere in the world from these institutions in country. The timing is now.
Ifokia, who got his first diploma from Uganda Technical College, Elgon, can quickly find a job. Okezia, who did a short baking course at Bukalasa Agricultural College, can start her own business. And Kato, who got certification in mechanics, can earn a steady income. Then so can you. Your situation can change for the better. Olina potential. Enroll in any certified TVET institution and get the right skills to start a new career today. For more information, visit our offices at the Ministry of Education and Sports or our website at www.education.go.ug. You can also call us on 0417-893-600 or 0414-257-038 or 0417-893-701.
Well, the conversation is more deep. From Sesse to Kabaramaido and then to Runtanga, the conversation is about agriculture institutions. And good to have you, gentlemen. Good afternoon, Mr. Abbas Stephen.
Good afternoon, Wana Moderator.
I'm very happy to see you.
Me too.
For starters, I want to know, how does it feel being on the islands and you're dealing with agriculture, especially you're impacting people with education? Do they seem to embrace it, though? And the part of challenges you're facing as an institute?
First of all, I want to send my sincere greetings to the viewers. And as you've said, my name is Abasa Innocent Stephen.
Correct.
And when they talk of skilling Ugandans, me, I was skilled 40 years back.
40 years back.
What does that mean? That one simply means that me, I was skilled right away from P7.
Okay.
After P7 is when I joined vocational agricultural training, which means if I'm talking about skilling, I'm very much 100% right.
Where was this? Where was this 40 years ago? Where were you skilled at?
I'm so happy to ask me that question. Those 40 years, and which I never mentioned, I was trained from Sesse Farm School. The institution I'm heading today. Because Sesse Farm School was established in the year 1964. And the second one was Chitagata, which was established in 1984. Then Rwampara around 1989, and later on Runtanga. But as you are asking the challenges, and as you can see, Sesse Farm Institute is located in Kalangala District, Sesse Islands. And Kalangala District, Sesse Islands are composed of 84 habitable islands. And Sesse Farm Institute is found on the biggest island called Bugala. And Sesse Farm Institute has only 2 entry points. One is via Bukakata, where you use a ferry, and two is via Entebbe, where you use a ship. And I want to tell the public, you know, sometimes we receive students and their parents don't come there.
They are worried.
And they say,
how will we get there?
They sometimes ask them, if you fear water, then why do you send students or your children? And that is a major point, because we receive students more or less orphans, because parents don't visit. Because if they would visit, they would see what we are doing there and appreciate and possibly send more.
Does that become a bit of a challenge that at times the parents don't seem to understand?
And secondly, you'll find that most of the basic things that we use, like food, name them, they are good from the mainland. Therefore, it is very expensive. It's very costly. But despite that, we have managed to put Sesse Institute on map.
To where it is
you have
today.
seen those three structures which the USDP put up in place. It is unfortunate that they have not brought the whole campus and you see what we are doing. Minus that, we have a number of projects that we use to train our trainees.
We're going to tap into that a bit later.
Yes, yes.
But good to have you here. Mr. Tukwasiwe Williams.
Yes, sir.
When I looked at what is in Runtanga, well done.
Thank you.
This is something great. What is Runtanga's story? For his story, it comes 40 years ago. What is Runtanga's story? Are you equally heading an institute where you went to school before and shortly you came back as a principal?
No. First of all, let me greet the viewers. Good afternoon to everybody.
Yes.
I'm principal. I'm Tukwasiwe William, principal of Runtanga Farm Institute. The history of Runtanga Farm Institute actually started in 1994. Before, it was a primary teachers college. It was a primary school before. So, but as a farm institute, it started in 1994, and then offering the courses which included. It started as a farm school, teaching P7 leavers, and giving them a certificate in tropical agriculture.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2012, the curriculum was reviewed, and the institute was upgraded to an institute, and started offering a certificate in a national certificate in agriculture. Recently, we also reviewed the certificate. And
wow.
Now we are reviewing, yes, because our
congratulations.
Yes, and we are now offering a national certificate in agricultural production, because we have to respond to the labor market. To the needs. Yeah, and somewhere in the middle, I think, the institute started offering courses which are not related to agriculture, but after 2012, all of these courses were removed, and we specialize in agriculture. I must say that we are the biggest farm institute in the country, with a population of 738 when we closed the year. And of course, when you add in these people of non-formal, we go to about 1,000. But our target now, this year, after August, we are going to enroll about 1,500. So much as we have got the infrastructure, still the demand is going to be much. That demand is quite bigger. The pressure.
We are going to actually to get there, how you're raising all those numbers, how to get there. Good to see you, Dr. Oluge from Kabaramaido. I was last there shortly after elections. That's when I traveled that far. But I hope you're actually holding on well. Now, Kabaramaido comes in at a very different juxtaposition. Like, we could look at all these other regions. Agriculture seems to be much more grounded. But when we go to Kabaramaido, the story changes. What makes Kabaramaido Agricultural College and the Institute unique?
Thank you. Let me begin by thanking the management of NTV and the presenters who are with us here.
Thank you.
Let me also thank our viewers, wherever you are. Please, I thank you very much for tuning to NTV and listening to us. And I give also a high gratitude to USDP, TVET department, Minister of Education, and the President of Uganda.
Correct.
All of them has participated greatly for having us in this studio now to reach Uganda. I think NTV enables us to reach a wider population of Uganda.
Correct.
We have been talking over radios. That one is a little bit of
limited, yes.
Limited
as per the filters.
Now we
Yes.
are reaching Uganda.
Correct.
And as we reach Uganda, we want to tell every Ugandan, whoever is listening to us, that we are from government-established institutions, and it is our mandate to make you know what is happening there.
Correct.
I am Dr. Louis Christopher, as the presenter said. I'm the principal of Kabaramaido Technical Institute. Kabaramaido Technical Institute is in Kabaramaido district. It is 4 kilometers away from the town along with Ochiero Road. You will get us always there. Kabaramaido Technical Institute is a little unique. Agriculture is one course which has the largest enrollment in Kabaramaido Technical Institute, but we don't have only agriculture, we also have other courses.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to tap into as well.
We train students in the, which acquire national certificate in automotive mechanics. Those who become mechanics, they are able to repair motorcycles, they are able to repair cars, all those things that use engines. They can handle. And then we have also we train students in national certificate in building construction. When students come to us, we train them in skills that make them enable them to begin building houses whenever they leave, when they leave school. And also we have a national certificate in agricultural production, training people in modern agriculture. We want them to adopt precision agriculture. Even if things are so difficult, we must not fail to produce food. It is very unfortunate that we still hear of hunger killing people in parts of Uganda, when Kabaramaido Technical Institute is there to train people's skills on how to produce whatever situations are like. We must not fail to produce food. We must be highly innovative and adaptive so that we don't fail. So we train students in national certificate in general agriculture. And also we have national certificate in the fashion and design. Tailors. We train tailors how to make clothes. Everyone wants to put on nice clothes.
Correct.
Everyone, you know, people don't walk naked. So this is big business. Now we train people to make for people clothes. It is unfortunate that sometimes clothes are imported from outside. When we can do this. And also we have a national certificate in electrical installation systems and maintenance, connecting solars in villages. You know, solars are everywhere now, but people don't know how to connect it. Who is going to help people there? People should come to Kabaramaido to train on this. Connecting electricity, repairing them. Government has put these institutions in place to help people train, and they should be of service to in whichever community they find themselves.
And Dr. Luge, that's why I want to engage you. With all that you've seen on ground for the time you've been in the training institute, does the populace understand what skilling means in the next dimension where the country is going in terms of the mindset? And if not, why?
That leads me to talk about the shift in education system. You know, I and my colleagues, if I may say, we pass through what is called elitist education system. Elitist education system is where only few people were promoted to the next level. The majority were educational wastage. But around the 1990s, the story changed. Because of the increase in the number and the demand for education, government adopted now what is called mass education system, where as many Ugandans as possible are given chance
to study.
Mass education. And from that time until now, there are so many graduates produced by institutions. There are so many that government can employ them. So government job is limited. So what is the way forward? The way forward is self-employment. People must be able to employ themselves. And when I talk of self-employment, I would rather call it decent employment, because you are your own boss and you are your own slave. It's a decent employment. But there is one requirement for you to qualify. Skills. You have to acquire skills, appropriate skills that will enable you do things for the public, doing things for the public. People should come asking you to go and do things for them. Do you have that skills? So as I'm in NTV now, I'm here telling all the viewers that Kabaramaido Technical Institute is there for you. The door is open. Our applications we are now receiving applications for those. In fact, everyone must
apply.
Must be interested in having skills. Must be interested in having skills.
I love the passion, Dr. Luge, you're using, and it brings me back to you, William. When we look at the issue of skilling, Dr. Luge speaks from the point of pain.
Yes.
That we should behave with the urgency this conversation should go with. Yes. But rather the generation seems to be a little bit complacent with the mediocrity, for the lack of a better word. And he uses a word with the mass education. Every year we have graduates. Yesterday and Monday we're graduating at Makerere University. Yes. Thousands were actually enrolled out. But the question is, do they have any skill to provide to the market? And that brings me to your question. Let's talk about the mindset of our people, especially when it gets to where you come from in agriculture. You're having over 1,000, 700 and going to 1,000 numbers, people enrolling in. What have you done so unique as Runtanga that has triggered the minds of those within the area that they need to actually get this skilling, not only in agriculture, but even in the other skills you're actually bringing forth?
Yeah. First of all, let me talk about what Mr. Luge was talking about. When you look at the history of our education system, people have been blaming the colonialists.
Yes.
But I think...
We always play blame game as Ugandans.
But I think that is not right.
Correct.
Because when you look at these historical schools, Mbara High School, Geza High School, Butobere, those ones which are near me, at least those ones I have visited, they had the vocational component
within,
which I think the parents refused.
Oh.
So you'll find that some of those equipments are there, some of those courses were offered, but the parents at that time refused those courses. And they were right. They were right
to refuse?
Yes.
Why?
The jobs were there. People were studying
and getting jobs.
And they would get good jobs. So there was no need for somebody
to get skills.
But as time went by, those skills which these people had that were taking them into offices became irrelevant. And as Paulo Freire says, that a country that does not develop the skills of her own people to exploit her own resources for her own development will develop nothing and will be pushed out of the development path. And as a country, we have a lot of resources. It beats everybody's understanding why we have all these resources.
And we have a lot of unemployment figures going up.
We have so many people who can utilize these resources. And we are the biggest unemployed continent, Africa. It is a very big question.
Does that come to the mindset again? Because I really need you to address the mindset issue there.
Yes, that's where I'm coming. And so what happened? After those jobs were finished in the 1980s, now people continued training for the courses which people were trained on before. And what happened? The jobs were not there because the skills which people were getting were not relevant to the needs of the country. And therefore, the education system started producing not human resources, but human substances. So human being becomes a resource when your skills are required in a time and space. But if the skills you get are not required in this time and space, then you become a human substance. You are just there. And this is what has created unemployment. And this is why our people are struggling to look for money in all means. Today I saw something on WhatsApp. Some boys in Shema, the youth, were killed. Because they had hijacked a certain pastor, and so the police did the work which it was supposed to do. But I think there is a very big problem which we need to address as a country to solve some of these things.
Mr. Abbas,
people are talking of oil.
Yes, when you hear what he's talking about, and he was going to the excitement of the oil that we have the oil. Oil is going to save us from all this poverty. The issue of the mindset from Kabaramaido to Runtanga, it seems to be a little bit vaguely understood depending on where you sit and stand. From the Sesse Islands, what do you see?
Thank you, Bwana Moderator. Bwana Moderator, I don't want to say this, but I was somehow annoyed, I must tell you, because when I wanted to start giving you the history of Sesse, you stopped me, and these people are given an opportunity to go in detail. You must understand that, and you must accept that was wrong. Because I told you that what you have seen are the structures that were put in place by the USDP.
Yes.
But I said, on addition, we have others. So when I reached there, I say stop.
Yes.
And I was wondering why
I was coming
So now,
and I've come
I'm
back.
not judging the case.
Yes.
But let me answer and allow me with some minutes, and I give the background.
You have 5 minutes for that.
Yeah, Sesse Farm Institute, as I've told you, is found in Kalangala district, the oldest. My friend William was saying that he has the biggest farm institute.
In terms of numbers of entrants?
Me, I have the oldest farm institute, and which produces quality graduates that can solve the problem of Ugandans as far as employment is concerned.
Okay.
And I must tell you that the solution is already there, because if I'm among of the graduates and I'm the principal, Afande Kayanja, you know him, is a graduate, and I'm sure and certain that many districts in this country, we have graduates there and who are doing a good job. And Sesse Farm Institute, as I'm saying, is no longer the other institute that is located in a hard to reach where there's a problem of transport. I want to tell the public that I may say, and which I think I'm sure, that water transport is more or less risk-free. Because you cannot take a week without hearing accidents along Kampala, Masaka, Mbarara, or other routes.
The road carnages are very high.
Me, the time I've spent in Sesse, I've never had any accident via Bukakata or Entebbe to Kalangala. So that's why I'm saying it is risk-free. So I'm telling the public, let them not fear. And another challenge which I wanted also to share with you, and even the viewers, and even the government, is that Sesse Farm Institute has a challenge. Because when you go to Runtanga, he was saying he has more than around 800 students. But when you look around Runtanga, Ombarala, they have many schools that can feed that institution.
Correct. But
Sesse is surrounded by only 3 secondary schools. But the biggest secondary you find has a population of 300. The second has around 180. And the third one has around 70. So those 3 shopping centers cannot feed the institute. However, because of our quality training, Sesse Farm Institute is attracting students from all over the country. As we talk, we have admission center in Jinja, in BS. We have admission center, Moroto, in Kalamoja. We have admission center in Tororo. We have admission center, Voice of Teso, in Soloti. We have admission center in Alua. We have admission center in Gulu, Mega FM. We have admission center in Masindi. We have admission center in Mbarara West, Radio West. We have admission center at Kalo in Riantonde. We have admission center in Masaka, CBS, and Wudu, and then Mbabur FM. All those students, our target is not to acquire, to receive students, but to make the whole country informed.
And how do you then inculcate the models you have, because you have the answer to the unemployment question, in tandem with the mindset issue? Because of time, Abasa will allow me at times to interject a bit.
Yes, please.
Because as a country, we need to understand what is the issue. we have the motors, we have the institutes, but why is a populace not embracing it as it should do with the urgency it needs?
First of all, like what Mr. Williams said, that parents left all the materials or what they were using, the tools and equipment in secondary. And from that time, our youth are not used to hard working, using their hands. So even when we get those students, we get challenge of now making them work and understand that our courses, our training is hands-on. And in that regard, that's why, and we must appreciate USDP and the Ministry of Education, and specifically TVET department, for making us and putting more emphasis on taking students for industrial training. Because our students now, those days, would actually take our students for industrial training like once in a year, or sometimes none. But this time around, they are doing industrial training 2 times. And these farms, which other courses called industrial industries, ours, as far as agriculture is concerned, we call it, they are farms. As I talk, for example, my students are in Gomba, Next Generation Farm, which is a very, very nice farm with around 400 cows on zero grazing. And by the time they finish, at least they come with skills. Then others, they go Kabaramaido University Farm. So these students, these trainees, when they come back when actually they have love for their course.
Because they have seen.
Because they have seen. On addition on what we actually train. And sometimes when we are training them at our institutes, they complain that we are making them work. But when they go for industrial training, they find it is times 10.
Now, that's where I want again to interject in Abasa.
Yes.
While training, they are complaining that you're making them work.
Yes.
This equally comes back in the issue of the mindset. Do we have models that at induction stage that help them to understand what this kind of trainings are going to be like?
Modulator. When a new student or new students come at Sesse, for example, there is what we call orientation week.
Correct.
Then after orientation week, we now take them to both class and field. Then after 2 months, we bring now good speakers like you, Bwana Moderator, who are well versed, and even the OGs and OBs, and they sensitize them.
What happens in the induction week? What kind of content do we share in the induction week?
During the induction course, both orientation and the speakers who come and talk to them, during the induction, we tell them the courses offered. Like now at Sesse, we are offering a national certificate in agricultural production and also a certificate in livestock production and business management, which was brought by USDP. Now we are offering 2 courses. And before we get this course of animal production, of livestock production, we had only 200. We had only 240 students. Don't say they are few.
No, they're not few, but because of time, allow me pass this over to William, if you can jump in there briefly.
Yes.
You were talking about that oil seems to be the silver bullet there.
Yeah, people are talking about oil.
Abbas has failed to give me the answer of what happens in the orientation, because this is where the mindset.
It is what I was coming.
No, but it's taking quite a time. William, do you mind jumping in there? William, jump in there. I'll come back to you. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yes,
I
William.
was talking about the oil. People are talking about oil, but
yes.
I want them to compare the price of a liter of oil and a liter of honey, for example.
Correct.
Yeah, so if somebody
that's a good one. Liter of oil to liter of honey.
Yes.
Okay.
You just compare that. There is a lot of potential in agriculture, which we have not seen, which people have not seen. And we are in production. Value addition is the key. Is very key. And in August, I must say to the public that we are going to begin a diploma in agro-processing. Nice. We are constructing an agro-processing laboratory and an animal feed processing unit. So that is where we need to go. Europe is getting out of farming because it is not profitable for them. And in the future, very near future, Africa is going to be producing food for Europe.
Correct.
And therefore, our youth must be trained in some
to plug in those opportunities,
but also in processing. Otherwise, the Europeans are going to come here and again and begin to produce.
They have already started.
And then they export for us. Now, the issue of curriculum is very critical,
especially at entry.
And when we reviewed the curriculum, we added the component of industrial training, which is talking about. And that industrial training is very, 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 very important, and it has contributed a lot in issues of mindset change. Now, when these people come from industry, in the case of Runtanga, we allow them to put in practice what they have
been exposed to
in the industry.
Okay.
So we give them that opportunity.
Okay.
And we allow the students to invest their own money in the institution.
Okay.
To run their own projects.
Within the institution?
Within the institution.
Nice.
And we assess those projects. We give them marks, because this is what is in for me. So, like, we have a group of girls and boys, about 15 of them, who are having a rabbit unit. They're having a rabbit unit. They go outside. They go for benchmarking. We support them to go out. They're thinking of value addition, and such a person, when he leaves that school, he will be able to run that kind of business.
So the institute does put an enabling environment to trigger innovation and invention.
Yes.
To make sure that this actually comes right around.
Yes, we don't allow them to make losses.
Yes.
The school absorbs their losses.
Oh, okay.
Like if their rabbits die, for example, the school replaces the rabbits, because we are supporting them to enable them to run these businesses when they leave. Because my product, we are not in an institution to make money, to make business. Much as we are struggling to make money also, but the most important reason for existence is training. And to me, the best product I must produce is a quality graduate who is going to change the world.
Wow. Great conversation about skilling for success. If you're just joining this conversation, on Twitter, the hashtag is Scaling for Success, and I'll pick your tweets a little later. I can feel my phone buzzing for those tweets, but I will actually respond to those later. When I come back to you, Dr. Luge, looking at Kabaramaido, I want to understand the community engagement.
Oh, yes.
How are you engaging the communities to embrace and understand what the Institute is doing? Where you come from, local leaders, traditional leaders, religious leaders are very strong. How are you blending all these facets to make sure that the Institute is grounded in the community baseline?
Oh, thank you very much, Presenter. My worry is the second hand is moving, and I feel as if the time has gone so much before.
Yes.
We had a community engagement day where we called political leaders, political representatives and religious leaders, and we talked to them. And I made very clear to them that government has invested so much in Kabaramaido Technical Institute.
Okay.
In tunes of billions of shillings. And Ugandans must take advantage of the investment there. There is a new course, Agro-processing and Business Management, that we now run in Kabaramaido Technical Institute, highly funded by government. The first cohort of students have just done their examinations. They are waiting for their results. And the second cohort is on. And government has supported the institute in great ways. Infrastructures have been put and equipment have been brought. Installation is now underway. There is a feed mill, a big feed mill where animal feeds will now begin to be manufactured. Feeding poultry, feeding pigs, feeding our animals should now not be a problem. Production should be easy. You know, the biggest problem in production is the feeding. And if feeding is solved, then production must go on. Feed mill is already there. Equipment have already been brought to the institution, and installation is underway. So people should come and learn how to formulate feeds for animals from Kabaramaido Technical Institute. Every Ugandan must know. This is government input, and that is why I'm here. If I did not mention it, I would not have done my work.
And that brings me to the question. You've put a lot of emphasis on the agro-processing management and business. previously, were some of the courses just skilling people to go out and practice the skilling in terms of agriculture, in terms of the motor vehicle mechanics and all, but they lacked the business component to it?
Exactly.
And how has this shifted the conversation at Kabaramaido Institute?
Exactly. Now the business aspect has been brought in so that whatever we do can create an impact. Without the business impact, we are going nowhere. Business impact makes a difference. It is what brings money into our hands. Like for instance, agro-processing. We had value onto agricultural products, both crop products and animal products. Now we have received maize milling machine. We have received ice cream making machine. We have received yogurt making machine. We have received oil seed processing machine. We have received bakery machines. The bakery is going to be there. We have received these equipments and they are in the institute, and it is for training purpose and also production. And there is no way you are coming to Kabaramaido and you go away without skills. Our training is training with production, learning by doing, so that by the time you leave, you are able to do it elsewhere apart from the institute. And no need to look for a job. The job is now in your hands.
Have you seen some of your students possibly understand this? Because, Dr. Luge, my worry is when the youth get money shortly after they have done this course, they actually get off the grid. I mean, they have a lot of money, they can then spend it anyhowly. In the business management course, the agro-processing business and management course, there's some elements of financial literacy. Because at the end of the day, the skilling should be there. But how do we keep and maintain the money? Do we have those facets there?
Not only keep and maintain, how do we make more money out of money?
Correct.
The business aspect has now been inculcated. And we are looking forward that all the other courses are brought to the same level. The business aspect must come in. The business aspect must come in so that we are able to progress. We may produce, the productionist may produce a lot of food and he sits back and says, oh, too much food, and cannot do much with it.
And then we can
Yet, we can generate a lot from it. So this agri-processing will help a lot. Actually, students who have finished first year are able to do things for themselves. You find that they begin, when they go back for holidays, they are going to marketplaces, they are making juice for sale because they have that skill.
The mindset has changed.
And this is a sure way of advancing even in education. If you come to Kabaramaido Technical Institute, you may come with your O-level results and then you enter. When you get that national certificate, you begin now making money. And as you make money, now you can now fund yourself. You can now fund yourself for further education. You can go for diploma. You can go for degree. When you are independent, you are now not relying on others. You are doing things with your own hands, and you are able to help also others. So this is a sure way of academic progression.
As a country.
It is an appealing way that we should really all adopt. It will bring me again, you know, I went to Japan some years ago, and I had...
You're very lucky. Now, if you've been in Japan, my next question, which you'll actually go to Abasa, it's in relation to South Korea and China, but let's hear what happened in Japan.
Yeah, in Japan, you find that at the age of 18, a child must leave the parents and begin to live independently. Why? At that level,
they're skilled.
They are already skilled. And what is that force which will make them use their skills? Being independent. Go stay alone. It is not a punishment. When a child lacks something, maybe a child needs a vehicle and he doesn't have the money, yeah, the parent can give. But on condition that they will pay back the money.
It's on the loan scheme.
It is on the loan scheme. So no wonder Japan is developed.
Moving and faster.
We in Uganda, we can do the same. We can do the same. We adopt the skills training. We can never go wrong.
Abasa, South Korea and China, they pick this issue of skilling, and it has moved them far and large. The reason I want to go a little bit, even let me just take it further to Thailand, which happens to be next to a water bodies back and forth. Sesse Island does not seem to be far different from Thailand as well. The challenges you face are quite remarkable and they're unique. What are some of the unique challenges you face? Because you have to teach over 42 islands just to mobilize them to come to this. How is it challenging to this and how are you navigating it?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Mr. Moderator, I want to ask you one thing to be accommodative when someone is answering his question.
Correct. Time is not on my side.
To answer you 3 questions that you've asked. One was the mind change.
Yes.
And another one is community engagement. And lastly, your question.
Correct.
The mindset change. One, the reason why I wanted to tell you that we started with 240, the students we had before USDP, and now we went to 400. Students had to change their mind from 240 to 550 because of using the following approaches. One, we're using the farmers who employ these people.
Okay.
Whereby they also register that we want so many, so that this student who has just come knows that after this,
I already have work
to get a job.
Yes.
Then we also invite the principal of different institutions who come and tell them, because before, like when I joined the vocational, there was no academic progression. And even many of the students today who joined the technical institutions, they join as a last resort.
Like for failures, like you failed here?
Even on that, I don't like to hear that. But in many cases, their parents and relatives decide
to abandon
after
your
results coming. You go. So sometimes the student comes without knowing that after this certificate, he's likely to go for further studies. Possibly has come and is stopping. That's why we bring those people to teach them. Then the third categories are OBs and OGs, who also tell them, I completed here, I'm like this, I'm driving, I've already finished my college diploma, I'm now, I've already finished my bachelor's, and I'm pursuing my master's. Take an example, me personally. I've told you that I joined after P7, but I have masters. So that one, when those people come, they change their mind and start appreciating the significance. That's what I wanted to tell you, and see the Abasa has failed.
Correct.
Have you seen my failing there?
No,
I think I have answered.
Time was not on my...
The second,
with TV, we are very straight.
Community engagement.
Engagement, yes.
Community engagement, like Doctor said,
yes.
We invited, we always actually, annually, we invite people of different categories, the politicians, the church leaders, the cultural leaders, and during that time, we do what we call cultural gala celebration, whereby we also exhibit the products that we do at Sesse Institute, because before even USDP came in, they found us on the way. Because as we talk Sesse Institute, even if we are not offering agro-business, but which we have as a module, we produce around 24 products. We have them. We have our grow showroom where you go and see different products. The honey,
within the institute,
block, all the greens, you know, in a powder form, the beetroot, the carrot beetroot, the salt blocks, the yogurt, the beef that is roasted and which is not anywhere in our supermarkets, they are all there. And that is the community engagement. During that, we even went ahead and established centers where we go physically and help the elderly who cannot practice agriculture, and they also start to appreciate. And when we do that, then students from Karangara, on government sponsorship, we first give them a priority. And that one, definitely, that is community engagement. And then we went ahead and pattern with other farmers. You will find every week those ones who need to spray the animals, who need castration, we do that. And that one also makes people to appreciate the vocational training and presence of that. So now when we come, the third question was about the unique challenge.
Can I start with the third question shortly after we take the break?
Yes.
Great viewers, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. We're just going to take a very simple break, and when we get back in the second hour, we're diving into the challenges and the wins, but not only that, the opportunities and the scholarships that are there for you and your child to possibly tap into. This is the Skills for Success show, powered by the Ministry of Education and Sports, the World Bank, and Scaling Uganda. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. My name is Andrew Chamagedo, and we are having a great conversation about the upgrade of Bukalasa Vocational Institute, but looking at even other agriculture institutes around the country. In studio with me, I have Mr. Basa Stephen, who happens to be the principal of the Sesse Vocational Agricultural Institute. We have Dr. Oluge, who happens to come from Kabaramaido, and I have Tukwasiwe Williams from Runtanga. Now, online, to those of you who have actually been watching this conversation and just sending your feedback here on Twitter, I really want to appreciate you so much for the feedback you're sending in. Someone from Barada says, okay, a very good morning. Thank you so much for this conversation. I, for one, I went to Runtanga Farm Institute, and I can testify I now employ 3 people. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Togo Secondary and Vocational Institute says, thank you so much, Dr. Oluge Christopher from Kabaramaido. What you're saying is absolutely right about the scaling. If our leaders could also look at it as the Japanese Dow service. Thank you so much for the conversation. And those on YouTube are following this conversation. If you're one of those on YouTube, just drop in your comments and I'll be in position to pick it up. I understand many of you are watching using YouTube. Those outside the country, we can't appreciate you enough, but thank you so much. Okay, someone, this is educative skills programs are very much needed. Problem is parents don't seem to understand it because they just want degrees at home. I think the panelists can be in position to help us demystify that. Well, this is feedback from online, but let's start off from where we had left Stephen explaining about a few challenges as an institute on the islands.
Thank you once again, Madam Moderator. Sesse Farm Institute, as I've heard, who is now 59 years old, and the area that is located in has a number of challenges. And of course, Kalangala has very little population, between 5 to 6 million people, but of course scattered. Therefore, you find, and because of being scattered, the scattered islands, and with very few secondary schools, which are 3, and the population I've told you, the challenge is to get the population that can make this oldest farm institute in the country. That is a very unique challenge and a very different from
any other institute.
My colleagues. But that one, with our strategic or good strategic plans, have not affected our institution. That's why I can tell you today we have more than 400 students, and this year we're expecting over 500. And any graduate that comes from Sesse is always appreciated. So the unique challenge that I've mentioned is about enrollment because of the location and the schools that we have.
Correct.
Unlike other institutions, if they happen to ask these people, they'll say, I'm surrounded by more than 30 secondary schools. But still you find the population, the students enrollment, were almost the same. And the solution for that, that unique challenge that you've asked me, I mentioned it before, that we have different admission centers to curb that challenge. Then another unique challenge that Sesse Farm Institute finds is to have good number of developed farms where we can take our students for industrial training.
That is a challenge as well.
But still that one, we identified around 5 farmers. We partnered with them in writing that we as an institution and students as well, we shall do ABCD. And you will also do WX. In that, for us, if we are coming to, for example, Mr. Chamagero's farm, we move with acracide if we are going to spray. We move with the antibiotic drugs if we are going to treat. and even the surgical blade that we're going to use in castration. And the farmer is only to provide the animals that we are going to use. And they have found it very interesting, and there is now...
Everyone wins at every end.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Then, on addition, we take our students outside the island. And on this note, I want to also extend my sincere thanks to USDP, because among the things that we received from USDP were given a 32 bus seater, and it found us with another one of 45 bus seater. So now we can take around 80 students at a go, and that is almost a class or 2 classes, and we take them for industrial training. And they also gave us, when others were, you know, requesting for double cabins, we knew our problem.
You need the boats.
Yeah, and not at all. We asked a truck.
Oh, yeah.
And already now they have given us the animals on zero grazing, and they need pastures. Now most of our pastures, we put them under silage and hay, and we say let them actually preserve that, and we're now using elephant grass from different farmers, and who even don't use it. And they give us. That is also community engagement. They now love our institution.
I love
that.
I love that. Coming to William here. William, looking at the unique challenges that are in Sesse, I equally believe you have challenges in Barada. As an institute,
yes,
these challenges could go unregistered by government or by any other partner you actually have. But given that we have this opportunity, we need to understand, with all this you're doing, with all these quality students you're putting out at play, we want to understand what are some of the challenges curtailing the institute.
Yeah, of course the challenges are several, and I want to talk about the challenges generally at
correct.
TVET. Let me talk about TVET challenges.
Yes, correct.
One of the biggest TVET challenges, of course, is that the parents, government has done a lot of work. And the government has defined for us the vision and the missions and whatever. And the government knows where we want to be. But the problem is that the parents and the children are not matching with the government.
Why?
Priorities. Because of the mindset change I think we are talking about. And this is why we are having all these institutions, a lot of money put in them, but with very low enrollments. So, and I think these programs are really very good because some people will now change and maybe look at our institutions as something that they should go to.
Someone on Twitter said that they would love to actually, you know, get into the skilling programs and all, but the parents seem to be stuck to the graduates. Like, I need a degree. Andrew, if you don't bring a degree in this house, we were going to be looked at as a failed family and all that.
I have 3 graduates, 3 people have finished degrees, they are coming for certificate. One was a banker. He completed the certificate last year. He completed he completed his course in business administration, went to banking, and after that he came and did the certificate he completed last year.
Mr. Chamagero, you allow me to supplement Mr. William. You know, when you talk of challenges, I wanted to first give you the unique challenges.
The unique of the institute, yes.
But there is another challenge that affects us all here, and this is funding. How is it a challenge? You know, because many of our trainees that we get are from our simple and humble secondary schools, where parents have been paying around 200, then a tin of a basin of beans, and then a bunch of matoke, and you find they want to compare our method or mode of training to be similar. Yet our vocational training is hands-on and very expensive. So you find the parents that we have cannot afford the amount of money we can ask. So you find we are compromised somewhere on the way, and we say possibly a student can pay, let me say 600 or 500, and which will not be sufficient
to run the course.
Then when you move from there, you'll find government sponsors only 50 and 60 for agriculture. Out of so many trainees that have come, yet you'll find secondary from senior to A level, their government is supporting all the students. But where we expect now the economic development
to come
from is somehow not attended to. So it is my humble request that the next budget of 23-24
it's already passing.
No,
2024, 2025.
No, 23.
Because this framework is already out.
It's already out. But if they, for example, they always talk about supplementary budget. If they can do that,
supplement it.
Yeah. Or 24-25 to put it in plan so that vocational institutions, trainees can be supported, and even training centers. When I was doing my research...
Just briefly, before you come to your research, William, he was just supplementing. Carry on with the point.
Yeah, and of course, he was talking about the issue of funding, the challenge of low enrollments. True, the funding is low, but government has tried really to give us more capitation grant. The only challenge we have is that the numbers are few. If the numbers can be increased, that would be good. I did a calculation. He did a calculation. I came up with a unit cost for a trainee at Runtanga Institute, 1.73. He came up with a cross figure. I think mine was 1.67. His was 1.73. So they are cross figures. So if you're going to train a person competently at Runtanga Institute and come up,
and that is 1.7 million Ugandan shillings.
Yes, per
correct.
Not per year.
Yes, per term.
Per person per term. You feed him well, you transport him well, you give him a lot of the skills.
For field work, for anything.
So what we are doing, we are training, but we are compromising some things. Of course, you have to buy food for them. You have to buy, but there are certain things that have to be compromised, and therefore the quality of skills we give may not really match
the need
that we have. However, government has invested a lot in terms of infrastructure, so we don't spend money on infrastructure.
Yes.
Except maybe for us whose the numbers are increasing, and the people saying, "Oh, the numbers have increased. The number is too big." I was in Bukalasa Agricultural College. The population is 15,000.
How they are holding up?
Students. So one institution, and. I think another challenge we need to look at is ICT facilities and internet, so that we can begin training these courses online. We had a partnership with Mbara University under the DDA program, the AND project, which is aimed at improving dairy farming in Africa, in East Africa. And the project gave our students phones, they gave them data, and we tried to do training of agriculture online. We have now brought farmers online. Yes,
I think, does that go under the agro-processing management and business unit course unit there?
This one is now we are trying to we have brought farmers online to teach them dairy farming online. How we have coaches in the school. Then the coaches are working with the DDA, Delta Dairy Academy in the Netherlands, so that they train these farmers online on calf management and animal nutrition. And I think there is another and these are things that we need to think about, because as our population increase, we need to begin offering practically these courses off campus, so that the students can come on campus. Just as those graduates were asking you, these are things that we can do if our ICT facilities and internet are merged
together.
We can do that.
If I can come to you, Dr. Oluge.
Yes, please.
The challenges of funding versus financing seems to be cutting across.
Yes.
What is some of your sustainable model you're using as Kabaramaido Institute with all these equipment that was given to you? And I'm grateful that you actually tapped into the issue of agro-processing, cost unit and all. How are you staying afloat in the times where William and Stephen have actually alluded to the challenges at play?
Yeah, I want to thank our viewers again. I'm going to answer that, but let me first of all supplement on one thing. Viewers, there are some parents who may be longing for a degree to come into the house.
Correct.
Not only one degree, but degrees. But I have one thing to tell you. If that degree supports only knowledge, then that will create redundancy.
In the home. Human substance.
And redundant knowledge which is not used often becomes destructive. Often becomes destructive. Skills is the only way out. It empowers you to use your hands to do quality things for the public.
Correct.
And at the moment, applications are being filled. We are receiving applications. We don't receive only from S4 leavers. Those who have diplomas and they want to acquire skills. Those who have degrees and they want to acquire skills, please apply. You can pick application forms from Ntinda Vocational Institute. Apply, even if you're applying to Kabaramaido Institute, apply and leave it there. They will take it. On Monday, we are beginning the exercise of admissions. Don't miss. The only way to go is skills. Skills creates a difference. My colleague was saying that some youth were killed because of abducting a pastor. You see? Lack of skills. Maybe they have knowledge without skills. And that knowledge is redundant. And it becomes destructive because they want to show that they reach somewhere, but they cannot use their hands to show it. So they choose alternative destructive ways. Skills is the only way to go. Ugandans, I want to make it known to you. It is our duty to make you know what government is doing. Institutions are there to train skills. Kabaramaido is there also. Runtanga is there. Sesse is there. On Monday, we are beginning the process of admissions. Please pick admission forms and fill. People in Kampala can go just to Ntinda Vocational Institute. Fill, even if you're applying to Runtanga, Sesse, Kabaramaido,
they will take
fill your applications and live there. On the 20th, 21st, the Ntinda Vocational Institute will see how to make these applications rich. We have to gain skills in order to be self-sufficient, in order for us to support ourselves before we support anybody.
As a country.
We can then begin to think of supporting others. If we cannot support even ourselves, then it's a problem.
Then you can.
It's a problem.
Dr. Luge, if you come back to my question because of time.
I come back to your question.
Yes.
I come back to your question.
Yes.
Now, education, TVET has given us a policy of training with production.
Correct.
Training with
to sustain.
To sustain, training with production, learning by doing. It means you are producing something. And then we are not going to try that, let us try to produce. We have to do the real thing.
Production.
The real products. And these products must be sellable. When we held a community engagement day, we had several products to sell. And in future, we shall have many. Our canteens must be stocked with products of agro-processing. Our canteens
from the institute.
From the institute. Our canteens must supply the community around. And it must be top quality products. We are going to have product quality on agricultural products. It should make them stay longer, to make them more tastier, make them sell higher.
I love that.
Everyone should look forward to taking advantage of this. This is what will bring us. Government has played its part. What about you? What about me? That's why I'm here.
As a principal of this kind of institute, oftentimes, and I won't sweep this under the carpet, there has been quite a lot of corruption in the country where government gives up this equipment and some principals use it for their own good, or the management administration. The production of these products that should actually keep the institute grounded, they use for personal gains. How do you make sure that you're in check, that no one messes up the investment done by the government and the return on investments keep the organization running?
Actually, the approach is team approach. We have to work as a team. We have to take responsibility. Everyone in the institute, even outside the institute, is responsible. Oftentimes I'm with my LC5. Oftentimes I'm with the cow. Oftentimes I'm with a DEO. I'm with the LC1. Everyone must be responsible for what is taking place. What government has done, say, in Kabaramaido, must be maintained.
Everywhere. Must
be maintained. It must not only serve what the group of people it is serving now. It must serve up to the grandchildren. We must all be responsible. We must all be responsible. Not only the person. You find that sometimes people from the community, they look forward to stealing a nut. You steal a nut and you disable. Several people are unable to learn.
Maybe, William, you want to supplement that?
I just want to supplement that. Maybe on the issue of sustainability, we need to think about commercialization of training centers.
Correct.
And the commercialization of training center is not something very easy because the two things moving together, training and commercialization,
the production has to bring the money.
It's a bit complicated. Because if I have a cow, for example, which gives 20 liters of milk, I cannot take there a learner who has just started learning to milk to do the milking. So one of them need not to be compromised. So for us, as Runtanga Farm Institute, we have identified some areas which we are going to commercialize. Banana, coffee, piggery, and dairy. Those ones, we are going to run them on commercial.
You've done adequate research on this,
yes,
and how
on commercial basis. We are going to run them on a commercial basis. If we go to agro-processing, we are going also to run it on a commercial basis. Now, agro-processing is a bit tricky because you need to register with UNBS and
of course the quality controls are there.
Control system. So
if I jump to Sesse, sustainability there, yes.
Yeah, because
what I wanted to finish is that our farm is self-sustaining. It pays itself, and every expenditure comes from the farm. So the farm is self-sustained.
Yes.
Dr.
Oluge.
Yes, please.
One, you asked him a question. How safe, for example?
Yes.
That
the monies that are corrected.
But when this project was starting, it sensitized us. One of the things to do, and I'm sure my colleagues, they know that, and they must have put it in place. In our staff, among the staff, we formed a committee called the Monitoring and Evaluation Committee, which must now monitor what is taking place. And I liked that committee. You recall in many schools where they ask a ream of papers every time. And you wonder
how it is being used.
One time I took my child and they asked me a ream. I said, but according to the file, I can only find 30 papers that have been used. And I think 470 are still there. And the director failed to answer that question. And that one kept on, disturbing me.
Yes.
And when they said monitoring and evaluation should be established in our institutions, I liked that. So now, like a student brings like a OS Russia, no more of bringing those. And that is what the most important thing they are doing. Now come to sustainability.
Yes, as an institution.
We can produce matoke when actually you come. In our school,
I'm paying you a visit.
You would ask, where is the banana plantation? For us, we started the 4-acre plan model, which our His Excellency was talking about. You find a banana plant here, banana whatever, but we can produce a bunch of banana that is weighing 100 kilograms. Then, when the USDP came and gave us all these equipments, we said, how can we establish a permanent sustainability program? We went outside of the institution. We bought a plot. This plot specifically for constructing where to sell, for example, animal drugs, agricultural, the farm supply shop, and then the products that we process.
Okay, from the institute.
From the institute.
Correct.
Then I want also to inform the public and my fellow friends that the market should start from home, from the institution, because the students, what they want.
They use them, yes.
You have milk, give them milk.
And they pay.
They matoke, because they pay tuition. And then you generate income, where income would also support the institutional activities.
Abbas, you said you have a dried meat. I have only interacted with dried beef, I think, in one of the supermarkets, and I just bumped into it. It was not intentional. Could you be having challenges to access the market as institutes just to get in the market? Are there some challenges there?
Mr. William first said that our institution are for training purposes, but with skills that can sustain them outside. What we do, we have the hydrator machines and what. You notice where I get them. You sit down and think. For example, there are certain institutions that you are neglecting. And I want to request you next time to start now inviting these people like Musa Bode University. Here in Katwe. These people can, you know, make machines that we can use other than those ones that we import.
That are imported, yes.
And we go to those machines which can mix, you know, animal feeds, and those ones that can hydrate the meat, and it comes very dry. And people who have high blood pressure, diabetes, whom they say they should not take meat, they buy that. So we produce a little meat. We want these students to learn that you can do this at the same time, selling it to other people, but on a smaller scale. That's why I told you that for us we have a showroom for agricultural products, like broken maize. We have our machine. We make broken maize. Farmers are around. They come and buy. At the same time, we use it for our animals.
It works.
Yeah.
Dr. Luge,
yes,
when we get to the issue of, I really want to, I'm trying to find a solution for the impediments you actually face when you do all these byproducts. Does URSP make it easier for the institutes? Because, you know, when your mandate is to train, it becomes hard for you now to get another certificate that allows you to do business in a way. I think that's what, William, you're alluding to. The slight margin to allow the training institutes to actually go into business at the same time doing this. Does it in one way or the other become a bit hard for you as institutes?
No.
To get the certification and all these processes?
The curriculum is not static. Always after 5 years, there is a curriculum review.
Correct.
And we have to slot in the business aspect in every course. In every course. Not only agribusiness, but in every course. We must commercialize everything we do. And we shall succeed. Curriculum is not static.
It has to be flexible.
Every 5 years, review. Every 5 years, review. That is the time we can slot in.
Okay. Thank you so much, those watching this conversation online. I see Phila Katende says, thank you so much for such an educative show and greatness there. Mbusa Chigongo, nice conversation. You've blessed my evening. When Shafiq said he doesn't mind about the costs incurred, he minds about getting the skills. Now that is where we're going to go, the costing.
That is my student.
The costing of getting the skill. Alan Buyinza says, thank you folks. Does everyone have to have a Senior 4 certificate as a minimum qualification for all your skills, or you can accept anyone with a P7 certificate or below, so that you start with that? William?
That one, I think... thank you so much, and that is a very good question. What we did in 2019, actually in 2017, I invited a group of farmers in Chitagata Farm Institute. So when they came, they showed a the need to review the curriculum.
To meet their needs?
Yes, to meet their needs. So we worked with UBTEB, and UBTEB also had, we had issues with UBTEB. Because we were admitting people who were not qualifying for the previous curriculum to study the agriculture. So UBTEB said no. So we eventually reviewed the curriculum and made the minimum requirement, because you don't need to speak good English like I'm speaking.
Of course. What you need is open mind.
So if you're going to talk about skills for everybody, now you are talking about, I need a person in English.
Senior 4.
A person in mathematics. And you are going to teach me how to look after poultry.
Yes.
They don't match. So when we reviewed the curriculum in 2019, we relaxed all those requirements. And what we require for you to come and register for a certificate in agriculture is just 3 passes. 3 passes in any O-level subjects. You can get your pass in mathematics, technical drawing, and Kiswahili.
So that takes away a P7 dropout?
P7 leavers, there are also institutions for them called the community polytechnics, where they go to study 3 years. After 3 years, they come to our institutions. So we take people who have completed Senior 4 with any 3 passes for agriculture courses, and the graduates from community polytechnics who have completed the certificate after 3 years.
They come through.
They come to you for a certificate in agriculture. Then from there they can now go to Bukalasa or they can come to Runtanga for a diploma, and from there they can go for a degree. So the route is open.
For yours, you have motor vehicle engineering and maintenance and all. Are your requirements just the same as Williams, or are they a little bit
yeah, it's the same. But what I need to add on is that those in P7 can go to those junior schools, can go to technical schools where they spend 3 years, just as Principal William has said, and then they come now to technical school, to technical institutes. After technical institutes, they get their certificate. They can now work their way to diploma, to degree, and they continue with their education. Meanwhile, with the skills, they will be self-sufficient. They will be independent because they now can do quality things that the community wants.
Let's go to the ones who are doing motor vehicle engineering and all. What is the minimum standard for one to enter?
Yeah, it's just the same. It has been
three passes
subsidized because the argument is 75% of the learning that takes place should be practical.
Yes.
Only 25 you get them in class to tell them theories and principles here and there, and they have to go unemployed. 75%. So really, there is no need to bar Ugandans from going to acquire skills. It is just like Principal William has said.
Okay.
Mr. Moderator.
Yes.
I want to make a point of supplement. You know, this curriculum review has been the second time. The first one is what made us move from a farm school, farm institute. And of course, the previous years, whoever would join a farm school after P7 will not get an opportunity for academic progression. That was actually happening right away from 1964.
That was a blockage.
Up to 1996. But in the year 1982, when all technical schools and farm school, which is Sesse, were elevated to Technical Institute. Among those was, for example, Nyakatare Technical Institute was a technical school. Bushenyi, which was called Chitimbirizo Technical School, to Kahaya Technical Institute. This one, Chisubi, was also a technical school. Iganga, you're going to name them. Plus Sesse was a school. But unfortunately, Sesse being one in the whole country, it was not elevated except the examinations code. So later on, they realized in 1996 by the later Simo, who's the deputy executive secretary, UNEB, and again it changed because we were offering craft courses. They were called craft certificate. Then they started UJTC. So we remain in UJTC, but senior force and A level students would come, benefit, go for diploma after our certificate, go for diploma. But P7 leavers who were the beneficiaries didn't have an opportunity. So when I joined as a principal, I realized there was a problem because I came knowing that problem. And I went to Mr. Runtanga, who was the PS. I showed him the challenge. And it is at this material time that I want to extend my sincere thanks to Madame Loyi Muhwezi, the current commissioner, TVET, who actually fought tirelessly, plus retired Deputy Commissioner Mr. Mansour, and worked upon the curriculum that elevated us to a farm institute in the year 2012.
With a great
so
review.
in the year 2012, the Ministry of Education came up with some strategic plans of saying that if you are going to join a farm institute, you must have passed English, you must have passed mathematics. So Madame Muhwezi refuted that. And I used to call her our liberator. She is our liberator. Even as we talk, this USDP and what have you, where TVET is going with our policy,
the direction
is Madame Muhwezi and her group. So he said, no, we need to remove those technicalities and what. So the requirement, someone to join a farm institute, that is what I know very well. Actually, William talked of 3. There are only 2. There are only 2 out of 10 subjects that a student sits at O level. If you pass Swahili and Runyachitara, or Swahili and fine art, you are eligible to come join.
You get and surprisingly, these people when they come, they perform very well
because the mind is open.
You find them very well, first class.
And William, that's why I want to engage you now about. I'm grateful that you have alluded the support from the strong women within the Ministry of Education and Sports under the TVET department. Let's talk about the issue of inclusion and gender inclusion at the institutes. It's only one clip where I saw a woman speak. I don't know why in the other clips we didn't have women speak, but now...
That woman was my student.
Yeah, one of your students.
Yes.
How have you made sure that you're engaging both genders in these TVET conversations, regardless of the social dynamics and religious dynamics at play?
First of all, I would like to inform the public that our population in 2019 was 332. So in 2021,
because
2022, we had moved from 332 to 738. That is a very big achievement. And
of those, how many were women?
Out of the 778, 265 are females.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, the numbers increased. When you look at the enrollment rates, I didn't come with the enrollment rates, but when you look at the enrollment rates, the number of girls is increasing at an increasing rate. So last year we had a very big challenge, and we had to know how to accommodate them. We constructed a dormitory using these internally generated funds. The dormitory started it on 27th of January. On the 3rd of March, rather 8th of March, Women's Day.
Wow.
We entered the dormitory.
Wow, that was super fast.
So we ran very fast, but
yes.
I'm happy that the number of students entering agriculture, the females, is increasing. Issues of differently abled persons,
yes.
I must say that we have not got people applying for those courses. One came, and we had given him a vacancy, but he never turned up. So I don't know the reasons why really we were not having these differently abled persons, but there are courses which they can do, and we support them. The girl child, I think one of the things we do is that we try to support them. We try to support them. I would rather lose 3 boys instead of losing 1 girl.
Okay.
Let me supplement.
Yes. In Kabaramaido.
In admissions that we are going for on Monday, you find that there is a criteria.
Okay.
Girl child is given an additional mark. A person with disability, another
additional mark.
And then somebody who comes from a disadvantaged area, say somebody coming from
a refugee center.
In a refugee center near water body, because you know people from near lakes, sometimes they prefer to go for a cheaper way to the to the water to look for fish rather than to go to school. So we give them marks to encourage them to also to come. So we are seeing increases. You are seeing increase.
The increase is coming. In Sesse, how are you handling that?
For us, actually it's a national policy what they are talking about. So you look at ladies, you look at even these senior 4s. If at one time one went for a non-formal training course. Let me someone like now, moderator, you don't need to become a slave of NTV. Because you want to eat. And I know you like eggs and
yes, I like organic foods, yes. Yes, so correct.
You go and have a zero grazing
a certificate.
You can also keep birds. You can also, you know, do some urban farming.
Yes.
Along your house, you know, in front. Actually, when you come to Sesse, you may think that the whole area is covered with crops everywhere, and you go for a skill. So when you go for a skill, before you complete your O level, possibly you have a skill in computer, you have a skill, let me say, in carpentry and workshop and joining. You have a skill, let me say, in salooning. they fetch more marks on addition to what they are going to give you. One moderator, I want to bring this attention, bring it to your attention.
Yes.
The other time when I said, you know, that when I was making my research, and he said, stop, I want you to quote that and even keep on telling the following, you know, or the next generation.
Yes, in the research.
When I was doing my research, and recall I even
the research was about?
It was about technical education and its challenges. Why students don't like to join. Among other issues you are talking about is the physical outlook of the technical institutions. I discovered that. And that's what I wanted to bring. Then you say, wait for your research. Because that's why we keep on enrolling.
Yes.
Students from humble schools. You don't expect someone that uses a, you know, you understand?
Yes, the bougie family to send here.
So we keep on enrolling that. So there is a need
to uplift the facelift, yes.
The physical outlook of vocational institutions, so that when someone, or a parent, a what, is entering, he appreciates where he's taking
their child
or her child.
Wow.
Yeah, internally,
I love that.
Also we support girl students, especially for those ones from poor families. We allow them to work on the farm.
Okay.
To meet their school fees requirements.
Oh,
and that one is cross cuts.
Yeah, that cuts across.
So we do it, and I think we had 10 of them.
For us, we have 15.
Others go to school, others go home. They remain. We just give them some few days to. So we give them support in that kind of form, so that.
And actually, those whom we call is dependents, school dependents, have proved to be the best.
Yeah.
By the way, when I'm a moderator, I was among the beneficiaries of the school dependence model during that time.
As we're finalizing this conversation, Dr. Luge, what are your parting shots to the country?
Yeah, as we finalize, I want to make everyone know that what we have been explaining is what we refer to as formal education system.
Correct.
But then we have also non-formal education system. Those who may not have gone to school.
Totally.
Those who may not know English, come and learn skills. It takes you only about 3 months, and we can call DIT to come and assess the level of skills that you have acquired. Please come. 3 months and you have the skills, you come out, you begin doing something worthy, you become relevant, you become needed in the society where you are. You become on a high. You know, I was very impressed. I went to the bank on
Monday.
On Monday, I wanted some little money from the bank. Somebody came with a dirty clothes, a mechanic, and he was depositing 1.2 million. And I looked at him and I said, "Thank you very much." What is this? He said he has been keeping his money. He wants now to come
and bank the money.
That is what skills can give you. That is what skills can give you. Let us really endeavor to get skills. We cannot fail to live. We would live a better life with skills rather than knowledge alone. Knowledge alone cannot take us anywhere. I told you it becomes redundant and destructive. Let us come for skills. I thank all those who have been listening to us, and I thank His Excellency, the President of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who bore this vision. And it is coming to pass.
When a moderator let the viewers
the
know
Minister of Education, Mama Janet Museveni, for making the vision of the President come to pass. I also thank the TVET department for giving supervision and really seeing to it that USDP operates, and it has brought us to this level.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Doctor.
Thank you, Uganda.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stephen, what are your parting shots?
Oh, something that I wanted actually to make the public understand. One is to know the whole country, to know that starting from Monday, it is when selection is taking place. And it is taking place from different areas. Western, they will go to Nyamitanga. Central, they will go to Ntinda. Northern, they will go to Amalata.
No, northern
use something. At which is in which it is the district of what?
Omoro
district. Yes. Then Eastern, they are going to Madera Technical Institute in Soloti. I conclude, Ghana moderator.
Yes.
I want to extend my sincere thanks.
Correct.
To our beloved His Excellency, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who loves skilling Uganda, the Minister of Education, Mama Janet, I cannot forget our liberator, Madame Roy Mhwezi, for TVET.
Yes.
And I want to thank the parents that have been supporting our institutions, who actually got this vision before, including my father, who said, Abasa, go to Sesse in 1980, and now I'm the principal, and I'm benefiting from the VET and the science pay from the president. Thank you so much.
Mr. William, principal,
yes,
of finalizing.
I just want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank government, the president, the honorable minister, the department, and the viewers. I don't think we are simple people really to see that we studied TVET.
No. And you're uniquely gifted.
We are really gifted.
Yes.
And so the viewers, if you want people to be like him, go TVET.
Correct.
I want to thank UBTEP. UBTEP is very, very, very flexible. It has made assessment so flexible that you can use any kind of training and you come up with the marks where to put them.
Yeah.
We, for example, have what we refer to as back home project. So you have a back home project, you go home, do your project from there, we assess it, and we incorporate it into the marks.
Wow.
So it has like decentralized the biggest part of assessment. So UBTEP is doing a great job. DIT is doing a great job in terms of assessing the land form and the short courses. And I want to thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I wish you could invite me for.
Well, for all these institutes, I'm going to start my journey. I'm going to come to Kabaramaido, to Barara, and I'll come again to Sesse, just to make sense of all these. Our great viewer, thank you so much for being part of the conversation. Every Wednesday, 3 to 5 p.m., the country ponders a big challenge to you. Yes, you have the graduation. Yes, you have a certificate. Yes, you have a diploma. Do you have a skill? And if you don't have a skill, just take a moment and think about it. With all this information you've had, with all these kind of conversations we have shared with you, what are you doing about it? The 1.5 million Ugandan shillings you could actually spend buying, luxuries of life, you can actually invest in getting a skill. Today, the conversation is coming to yours because I believe in the law of attraction, because the universe feels you qualify for this conversation. If you're a parent, enroll your child to actually go get a skill. If you're one of those watching and you're youth and you feel you can actually get a skill, go get a skill today, because the future is for only those who are skilled. I'm Andrew Chamagid, and this program was powered by the World Bank, not forgetting the Ministry of Education and Sports and Skilling Uganda. Good afternoon.